This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the light... Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. It's very much appreciated, as always. Right, what we're going to do today is we're going to try and review some 2024 classics. Hopefully, that's the plan. I've got 5 classics that are upcoming for you. We're going to take a look at the first classic of the Australian turf season in 2024-25. The Guineas at Caulfield, I think it was at. And then we're going to take a look at the Japanese St. Leger. Then we're going to look at the last European classic of the season, the French St. Leger. And then we are going to end with 2 in Australia, the VRC Derby and the Crown Oaks, which were held in early November at Flemington. We'll also take a look at some of the Classic Watch 2024 runners along the way, that sort of thing, and we will see how we get on. Right, the first race, like I said, we're going to take a look at is the Caulfield Guineas. This was held in early October, and it did actually feature a Classic Watch 25 possible broadsiding. Classic Watch 25 obviously will be starting with the Australian Classics, going through to the European Classics of next season and the other Japanese, New America, etc. So this really was the first Classic Watch 2025 runner, even though I have got Classic Watch 24.great/site.net open for some reason. The first race, like I said, we're going to take a look at now, the Caulfield Guineas. And it was an interesting race. We had broadside in. Like I said, he was a very short price favourite on the day. So let's see what transpired.
Ready. Set. And they're racing. Broadsiding towards the outside, away fairly. Ruta Royale jumped quickly with also Private Life, who's going to lead them early. Feroce and Tropicus behind those horses. Wanneroo is in about 4th or 5th as they settle down into stride. They were followed by around the outside Mayfair, who got to about 6th, and driving through between horses. Public Attention's now in the top 4. So the leader at the 1100 metres, Private Life, by 3/4 of a length. Ruta Royale. Feroce is 3rd, followed by Public Attention. A length and a half, Tropicus on the fence, and then came Wanneroo. Next in the field is Mayfair, a length and a half to Broadsiding, who's 2/3 down the field from Evaporate Angel Capital and the Bolter Vianara. To the side of the course now, 800 metres to go, and the leader Private Life by a half length. Ruta Royale, a length and a quarter, Feroce 3rd, and then came Public Attention, a length away Wanneroo. Mayfair deeper from Tropicus, a length and a half Evaporate. Broadsiding 3rd last from Angel Capital, and last of all Vianara. 500 metres to go. Private Life had a bit of a breather midway from in 2nd. Ruta Royale. Public Attention 3 deep. Feroce behind those horses trying to edge off the fence from Wanneroo. Broadsiding still has 3 behind it. The leader Private Life led by a length. Ruta Royale, Feroce, Public Attention. Then came Evaporate. Broadsiding still a long way off them. Private Life 200 metres to go. 2 lengths Feroce. Then came Evaporate and Broadsiding. Private Life at the 100 from Feroce. Private Life. Feroce coming at Private Life. Private Life. Private Life has just won from Feroce, Evaporate, Broadsiding. Then Public Attention. Next to finish Vianara. And then came Tropicus, Angel Capital. A gap Ruta Royale, Wanneroo. And a long last was Mayfair.
Quite an
Private
interesting
Life,
race there,
Damien
I think.
Lane, beautifully rated for trainer Chris Waller, has held on to win
Well, if I,
the Caulfield Guineas.
Stopped the commentary. Interesting race there, I think. Very interesting performance there. I don't think really that was the jockey's finest hour on the Classic Watch 25 Hope broadsiding. Obviously, we have seen him win from there in other races. But to me, especially after winning the Grade 1 this year already, proving his fitness, I was hoping for better, really, to be honest. The horse broadsiding, he went off odds on as well, could only finish 4th. running to a mark of 107 for Godolphin. The race taken out by Coolmore. The Coolmore and Westerberg sired Written Tycoon sired colt Private Life, who ran to a mark of 111, ridden by Damien Lane on the day, ridden by Chris Waller. So, yeah, disappointing really for Broadsiding, it has to be said, on the day. It's really fair to say that it hasn't really worked out for the horse at all since he won the Golden Rose, where he beat stablemate Traffic Warden, who they decided not to allow to run in the Caulfield Guineas, thus only giving them one shot. I mean, the horse has been beaten 16 lengths on its last two starts against older horses in the Cox Plate and in the Champions Mile at Mooney Valley and Flemington, after finishing fourth in that race. So to me, I think you have to say that Godolphin have sort of dropped the ball a bit on this horse. The horse was looking so good at the end of its 2-year-old campaign, and it started off so well in September. But then in October here, and then the two runs subsequently after the race we've just looked at. You know, I would like to see this horse drop back down to 1.5 miles against 3-year-olds and win some sort of races like that. But the horse is still very much of interest. Very, very talented horse, as people saw. But yeah, so far failed to get Classic Watch 25 off and running. The next race we're going to take a look at, I think, took place about 8 days later. It was the Japanese St. Leger held at Kyoto. Classic Watch 24 had one runner in this race. We were hoping for others, obviously. We'd identified a couple of 3-year-old colts and fillies that I was hoping that would take their chance. But in the end, it was the winner. It was the winner of one of the Leger trials. Was the only horse that turned up to run in the Japanese Leger. Who would have thought it? A trial winner running in a classic, eh? Urban Chic was the name of the horse. So we will move on to the Japanese St. Leger now and see what transpired there.
The Kicker Show for 2024, the 85th running, 3,000 metres ahead of them. They're off and racing. Missing the kick. Piece one, Duke. Early speed from Noble Sky. Going forward, down to Sile. Ecordo Volse is going to lead them up early. Goes on and goes to the lead. Does like to be up near the lead. Noble Sky runs second. Then comes Mr. GT. West now. Then down onto Sile. Meisho Tabaru. Cosmo Caranda will not settle. Reefing and pulling with the head in the air. Hayato no Fukunosuke is along the fence. Wider out is Allegro. In fact, it's Schwarzkugel. Back to the inside is Ask. Come On More, followed by Shonan La Punta. Then wider out Malorium, back to the inside, Piece One Duke with Urban Chic. Then Byzantine Dream, Allegro Brillanti, well back, Head and Tour, and Admire Terror at the tail of the field. They come to the home straight in a crowd of 40,000 plus. Greet them as they come to the judge the first time, down the middle of the track. Well, Noble Sky can't get across, and it has a 4 off the fence position. Back to the inside, Akoro Volse has pulled up a bit slower there. Meisho Tabaru decides to go on. Suguru Hamanaka said he didn't know whether he could lead, but he decides to lead past the winning post the first time. Meisho Tabaru takes them past the winning post. Leads out now. The inside is Noble Sky. Back up along the fence. Trying to pull off the fence is Piece One Duke. Now pushed out is Schwarzkugel. Then Mr. GT. A lot of toing and froing up front. Accordo Volse has now been pushed back. Then comes West now. Looks to be under pressure already. Down onto Sale has lost its position. Back to midfield is passed now by Urban Chic. Shonan La Punta. Malorium's back in the ruck. Back in behind them along the paint. Hayato to Fukunosuke. Yutaka Take's off and gone on Admire Terror. Then well back Allegro Brillante, Head and Tour, Byzantine Dream, well back Cosmo Caranda, and Ask Come On More at the tail of the field. Well, there's some real swapping and changing here in this year's Kicker Show. They're still going strongly in front though, and it's Piece One Duke. Veteran jockey Yoshitomi Shibata has this outsider in front from Meisho Tabaru. Back to the inside, Mr. GT. Then Noble Sky. Schwarzkugel. Yutaka Take's 5 wide on Admire Terror. Losing ground. West now. Passed by Urban Schick, then comes in the ruck, Head and Tour. Shonan Lapunta starting to take off. The inside of Coro Vols going back with Melorium. Wider out, Cosmo Caranda's taking off now. Hayatono Fukunosuke, Byzantine Dream, down on Desile. Would have to be a star to win from there. Then comes Ask Come On More, and Allegro Brillante is at the tail of the field. They swing for home in the Kicker Show of 2024, and out in the middle of the track, it's Admire Terror. Back to the inside, Schwarzkugel, Shonan Lapunta. Here's Urban Schick. Here comes Christophe Lemaire. He won the Fillies last week, and he won this race last year. He goes to the front, and he's got this parcelled up. Urban Schick will go on and score. Admire Terror's going to be fighting on for second, but it's Urban Schick takes out the Kicker Show. It's tight for second. Head and Tour lunged on the line. Maybe Head and Tour from Admire Terror. Back to the inside, Shonan Lapunta. Then alongside them, down on Desile when it was all over. What an unbelievable finish by the Colt. Then comes Schwarzkugel, Akoro Vols, West Now pulling up Mr. GT, Allegro Brillante. Out wider was Hayato Fukunosuke, followed by Peace One Duke. Meisho Tabaru knocked up. Cosmo Caranda could not come on. Meliorum was a disappointment. Noble Sky. The Kicker Show
Interesting race
2024, the 85th running.
Again. Very good performance on the day, you have to say, from the Classic Watch 24 possible. Urban Chic surging up the straight, and like the commentator said there, under jockey Christophe Lemaire, to take out Classic Watch's first Japanese classic. We've added a couple afterwards that we would have identified earlier, but that's sort of cheating. But this one was actually on the site before they raced. And Urban Chic running to a Racing Post rating of 115. The Suave Richard sired colt beating Redentor, sired by Rulership by 2.5 lengths. And that was a very interesting race, I thought. That was messy, wasn't it? Plenty of runners, and I did think it got a bit close for comfort at the end. Regarding the horse itself, Urban Chic, well, what can people say? According to the Racing Post, the trial, it won at Nakayama in September. The Saint Light Kinen took more winning than the classic itself, 117 for the trial and 115 for the classic itself. But still very satisfying to get one on the board out in Japan to end the year. Right, we're going back to Europe now to take a look at the last classic of the year in Europe, the Prix Royal Oak, which this year was held at Saint-Cloud. I always thought this race was held at Longchamp. If I'm honest, I don't know whether this is the first year that they've decided to move the race to Saint-Cloud. But that is what's happened. This race, I will say, is available for 3-year-olds and over. So although Classic Watch 24 has horses running in it, there is also options for the other Classic Watch horses on the day from older crops to make a late classic case. A bit like Dawn Rising, the jumps horse tried to in the Irish St Ledger the year before. Unfortunately, none of them took their chance, leaving just one Classic Watch 24 participant in the race, who was in fact lining up in his third classic, the Coolmore owned and Aidan O'Brien trained Grosvenor Square, was allowed to take his chance at Saint-Cloud. So let's see what transpired there, shall we?
In the race for the Cravache d'Or, Savannah's Knights in position, the favourite. All set under orders, and they are off and racing for the 7th, the Prix Royal Oak, the final Group 1 race of the French flat season, and the penultimate Group 1 race of the European flat season. And first to go on is Double Major in the blue and white jacket, shows the way to Trushan on the inside. Al Karim moves up on the outer for Clifford Lee, moves into 3rd position, followed by Savannah's Knight in the centre. The all-yellow of Align the Stars on the inside. Grosvenor Square is stuck a little bit on the outer. Then further back to the last two, those are Shakti and finally 3 lengths off the pace in last position, Presage Nocturne, as they come down the home straight for the first time. So Trushan and Holly Doyle on the inside. Now comes through and picks up the lead. ensuring a healthy pace, because Trushan is certainly one who needs every metre of this trip. Double Major in second, then Grosvenor Square round the outer. Align the Stars, Joe Fanning follows in fourth, with the favourite Savannah's Night racing fifth. Al Karim, the white jacket, towards the outer. Then following Al Karim, Shakti in blue and yellow, and still Presage Nocturne at the back of the field as they make their way down the far side. A sensible pace set by Trushan, showing by a length. But Double Major, Maxime Guillon, is right there on the outside, as is Grosvenor Square. Ryan Moore on the outer, Savannah's Night just tucked in behind those three, with on the inside Align the Stars, and still behind Al Karim and Shakti, and finally Presage Nocturne. So continuing past the halfway point now, with Trushan still taking them along, and has now got on by a couple of lengths to Double Major. Tracking Double Major all the time is Savannah's Night. Grosvenor Square on the near side, with on the inner Align the Stars. Al Karim just trying to find cover behind those ones. In fact, moves next to Savannah's Night now. No change at the back. Shakti and Presage Nocturne, as Trushan now goes on by 2 lengths. Al Karim is now making a bit of a forward move, moves up on the outer, goes into second position just in front of Double Major. Savannah's Night has responded. Align the Stars just being pushed along on the inside. Grosvenor Square still well there on the outer as they begin the swing back towards the home straight. So down to the 800, with Trushan being pressed by Al Karim and Double Major, and Align the Stars has dropped away completely. Savannah's Night and Grosvenor Square on the heels of this leading group. Further behind, Presage Nocturne on the outer, Shakti on the inner, as they make the swing back towards the straight. Very much a live race, all of them with chances. Trushan turns in with the lead. Al Karim tries to apply the pressure to that one. Now on the near side, Savannah's Night's got a clean run through. Double Major on the inner, and Double Major has now come through and picked it up, with Savannah's Night down the centre. Trushan still battling away, but it's Double Major who has the lead. And on the near side, Savannah's Night and Double Major got first run. Savannah's Night is in pursuit and is wearing this one down. Double Major and Savannah's Night, and Trushan on the inner. Double Major still in front for Maxime Guillon, and Double Major goes on to victory. Double Major's won it very, very close behind. A photo between Savannah's Night near side and Trushan on the inner, with Al Karim and Grosvenor Square further behind. And it's number 4, Double Major, for Maxime Guillon, who wins the Prix Royal Oak. Close call second, probably just number 2, Savannah's Night, with Trushan back in third.
Again, you have to say there that that was a good performance by the Maxime Guillon ridden gelding. Double Major, sired by Daiwa Major, who was in fact winning the race for the second year in succession. The Christoph Erland trained 4-year-old, sired, as I said, by Daiwa Major, out of a dam called Dance Quest, who of course is on my revered Feather Quest line that I do always like to follow. Double Major running to a racing post rating of 116 there to win the Prix Royal Oak, the French St Leger at St Cloud, by a length and a quarter from a horse that ran, I think it was 4th or 5th in the Arc on its previous start. The Camelot colt, Savannah's Night, ran to a mark of 114 under Michael Barcelona, with the 8-year-old planter-side gelding Trushan third, trained by Alan King. As for Grosvenor Square, well, what can people say? A well-beaten 5th on the day. The Galileo-sired 3-year-old never even led, did he? I mean, people have seen, in my view, that the performance, that the horse's best performances have come when the horse has led. I mean, Ryan Moore trying to teach him a different style of racing there on that day. I think it's fair to say it didn't work. I mean, at no point did I think the horse looked dangerous, and I'd have preferred him to adopt the tactics that saw him run so well in Ireland a couple of times earlier, when he gave Tower of London the fright of his life before winning the Irish St Leger Trial by 21 lengths. And if people take a look there, 20-length win, running to a mark of 116. And then that second is the one I'm on about, behind Tower of London in the Group 2. Curragh Cup. Horse has actually turned up in 3 classics, 7th in the Irish Derby, 5th in the UK St Leger, and 5th in the French St Leger. So it's fair to say that the horse has had a good go for us, but sadly has been proved not good enough to contest the Classic. Group 3 winner, Group 2 placed. But Grosvenor Square has sadly failed to emulate his older brother, Santiago, by winning a Classic. He might get a chance next year, I suppose, in the 4-year-old races. You don't know, do you? The Irish Ledger, the French Ledger next year. But certainly at 3, the horse has fallen short of what I needed him to do. Right, the last two classics we're going to take a look at. We're going to go back to November now, and we're going to take a look at some middle distance classics in Victoria. Both of these run at Flemington. We're going to take a look first at the VRC Derby, a race that I did try and look at to try and get some Classic Watch 25 interest in the race, but I just couldn't find a suitable profile that I wanted to move forward in the race, unfortunately. So as a consequence, I just unfortunately had to watch them go round this year. I couldn't really see what else could be done rather than risk one that I didn't really like. So we'll take a look at the race anyway and see what transpired in the VRC Derby, which is held in the meeting at Flemington, where has a 4 or 5 decent days rating, culminating around the time of the Melbourne Cup and the Crown Oaks. What we're going to take a look at in a moment is in the midweek as well. So this is the VRC Derby held at Flemington.
Take the outside and the field is locked away. They're set for the Penfolds Victoria Derby. Sets. And they're racing. Keeneland away fairly, brushed into Autumn Heat shortly after the start. King of Thunder broke well with Saint Emilion, but they don't want to lead. Keeneland is out deeper on the course with also pushing up Hot to Go and Oxford Blue out wider. King of Wall Street is starting to drive through between horses. They charge out of the straight. King of Thunder's holding its place on the rail for now. Hot to Go is going to cross and lead Oxford Blue. Keeneland's 3 wide improving. King of Thunder behind them with King of Wall Street, and then came Gold Rush Guru, who's 3 wide and posted. Saint Emilion on the outside of Peru at the 1900 metres. A length and a half to Scary, Red Aces, and then came China Sea. 3 further back in the field then is one off the fence there, El Costello, the favourite, but it's well back in the field from Politely Done, Autumn Heat, Tenbury Wells, and at the tail is West Indies. Heading towards the 1600 metres, Hot to Go led the Derby by a length and 3/4. Oxford Blue is second, Keeneland is third on the rails, and they're a length and a half in front. They were followed by Gold Rush Guru, who settled in a beautiful position. 4th, one off the fence as they reached the 1400. King of Thunder, 5th the rails, a length King of Wall Street, a length and a half Peru, Saint Emilion. Then China Sea and Red Aces, who would spot the speed about 10. 2 for the back is Scary, Politely Done. Then El Costello, Autumn Heat is next. West Indies as well back in the field, preceded by Tenbury Wells as they run past Chiquita Lodge with about 1100 metres to go. Hot to Go the leader by a length and a half to Oxford Blue. A length away is Keeneland third, and then came Gold Rush Guru. A length away in the field, King of Thunder. King of Wall Street, it's outside. 2 further back, Peru, and the speed has been even at the 850, and they get away as they come towards the home corner. Next in the field, Red Aces, who's just closing that gap a little, about 8 lengths off the lead now. Well back in the field then is China Sea, and then towards the back of the field, out very deep, El Costello with Autumn Heat trying to get involved. Politely Done shuffle back to third last, with also West Indies and Tenbury Wells into the running at the 500 metres, and Gold Rush Guru under a hold goes up to Hot to Go. Then came King of Wall Street, who's running on fairly well. Red Aces is coming through, still 4 off the lead. Gold Rush Guru went for home. 2 lengths King of Wall Street, followed by Scary right down the centre of the track. Gold Rush Guru at the 150. Scary is staying on, then China Sea. Gold Rush Guru for South Australia with 100 to go is pulling out. It's the stronger. It's going well, and Gold Rush Guru won the Derby. Scary second, a photo third between King of Wall Street and China Sea, and then El Costello. Next in the field, Red Aces and King of Thunder. Hot to Go was next, followed then in the field by Saint Emilion. Well back in the field, Keeneland, with also Politely Done with Tenbury Wells, West Indies, Peru, Autumn Heat, and one more. Last was Oxford Blue.
South Australia, like I said, I mean, I did look at the race, and I found that race virtually impossible to solve. I don't mind telling you. Before the race, I had what I considered a very good look at a couple of them, and the profiles of them just didn't sit right for me. I wasn't comfortable with some of them. I don't think there was one horse in the race that had won more than 50% of its starts. That was the sort of problem I had with the race. I couldn't work out how any of them could be progressive after the race. But on the day, it was the American Pharaoh sired Gold Rush Guru, trained by Andrew Glipas, as the commentator said, out in South Australia, coming from a Morphettville listed race is out in South Australia to win the Group 1 Victoria Derby by 1/2 a length, ridden by Jamie Carr on the day. One thing that people will notice, this race hasn't even been rated by the Racing Post, which shows how unsure they are of the calibre of the merits of this race at the moment and the horses involved in it, both before it and after it. In second place was the 40 to 1 shot Scary, ridden by Luke Nolan and trained by Emma Lee and David Brown, sired by Shocking. And third home was the 10 to 1 shot, the John Sargent trained China Sea, ridden by Mark Zara and sired by the good old-fashioned Australian stallion Fastnet Rock. An interesting race, but I could not make a case for many of them at all on moving forward at the race. They'd obviously all been aimed at it to culminate there. There wasn't many of them that were unbeaten or anything like that. It was just, I suppose what I'm sort of saying is the race was what it was, unfortunately. Right, we're going to take a look now at one final classic in this video. We're going to stay in Flemington. This race took place around 4 or 5 days after the Derby, the Crown Oaks, for a 1.5 miles for fillies. Again, I looked at the race and a lot of them were very exposed on the day. I just couldn't make a case for many of them. Unfortunately, we're going to take a look at the Guineas, which is coming up next week, and will be the first classic of the next classic review. Hopefully, there will be some Classic Watch 25 representation in this, but I've never gone looking for horses if they're not there. Then they just have to wait for other opportunities. You know, it is what it is. Or maybe I need to look at more horses and improve as well. Is another way of looking at these things. So the last classic we're going to take a look at is the Crown Oaks, which was held at Flemington, and we will do that now.
About ready. Placid Pearl is in. Sets. And they're racing. Hurry Curry from the centre gate away only fairly. Killcare Beach Girl jumped very, very quickly with Inevitable Truth. With that tactics change is booting up on the inside and pushing up to third is Noises. 2 down discreet fourth the rails from Rag Queen. Treasure the Moments 3 wide on that opening corner. They were followed by Harlem Queen and Hurry Curry. As in front of those, Treasure the Moments now 1 off the fence, the favourite. 2/3 down the field. Powers of Opal is 3 wide around Pleasure Artist and Feminile, and then Tell Us Say All Kinds of Folk and Placid Pearl is last as they head to the riverside. 2,000 metres to go. Killcare Beach Girl by 2 lengths. Inevitable Truth. Noises third outside of 2 down discreet, and they're 2 lengths Treasure the Moment. 5th the outside of Rag Queen. 2 lengths away to Hurry Curry, and then came along the inside Harlem Queen. Powers of Opal still 3 wide at the 1,700 metres. Between fillies is Pleasure Artist and then Feminile the inner. 1.5 All Kinds of Folk, and then Tell Us Say the rails, and 2.5 to Placid Pearl. Killcare Beach Girl in a rhythm at an even speed at best, heads towards the 1,400 metres, controlling this under Clark by 1.5 lengths. Inevitable Truth, and then 2 down discreet and Noises. 2 further back in the field, Treasure the Moment outside of Rag Queen. 1.25 lengths Hurry Curry. Then came along the inside at Chiquita Lodge Harlem Queen. 1 length away in the field, Powers of Opal, Feminile, and then came Pleasure Artist, Tell Us Say, All Kinds of Folk, and at the end of the field is Placid Pearl. So Killcare Care Beach Girl is the leader by a length, Inevitable Truth, and they're 2 lengths to Noises and also 2 down Discreet. Treasure the Moment, every possible chance by the 1,000 metres. Next is Rag Queen, and on her outside is Hurry Curry. A length and a half away in the field, Harlem Queen, Powers of Opal. Then came Pleasure Artist outside of Feminile from Talisay, who's third last. Well back in the field, All Kinds of Folk, and Placid Pearl brought up the rear as Killcare Beach Girl is steadily sooling up the pressure from Inevitable Truth. And then came the outside Noises, about a length and a half off the lead as they come around the turn. Inevitable Truth has struck the front early in the straight and went for the doctor at the 450. Inevitable Truth 2 or 3 lengths in front of 2 down Discreet. Treasure the Moment. Lane hasn't pushed the button yet, and behind those horses Hurry Curry, and on the inside 2 down Discreet. Wax on. Inevitable Truth at the 200. Treasure the Moment lets down now, cuts the ribbons. Powers of Opal is running on. Treasure the Moment, 100 metres to go, a length and 3/4. Powers of Opal won't get there. Treasure the Moment, it's one to savour. Treasure the Moment won the Oaks. Powers of Opal second, and third was Hurry Curry, followed by Harlem Queen. Next 2 down Discreet and Pleasure Artist. A gap, Placid Pearls run a race. Rag Queen, Talisay, Noises, Inevitable Truth, Feminile, All Kinds of Folk, at a long last after leading Killcare Beach Girl.
Very good performance, I thought, by the winner there. It looked a very impressive filly, and that is one that I think might be able to make some sort of a mark later on in the season. Very good performance by the favourite on the day, Treasure the Moment. Another one, no, sired, this one I thought that was a written tycoon as well, sired by Alabama Express, out of a dam called Draconic Treasure, who herself was sired by Street Cry, trained by Matt Laurie and ridden on the day by Damien Lane. Second, the Ocean Park sired Powers of Opal, another one trained by John Sargent and ridden by James McDonald. And third home, Hurry Curry, another one by Ocean Park, a 2-3 for the stallion there, trained by Danny O'Brien and ridden on the day by the Magic Man from Brazil, João Moreira. Again, people will notice that this race, although it was raced a week ago, still yet to be taken on by the raters at the Racing Post, which to me indicates to me that their lack of knowledge of Australian racing. I don't know how that can be interpreted as anything else. Right. ClassicWatch24.great/site.net I think has finished now. That is the final. We've looked at the final Japanese Classic. We've looked at the final European Classic now. So I think it might be time to put this site away. Maybe a good old-fashioned update of the Roll of Honour to end the site. And all roads will now lead to Classic Watch 25. We're starting really with the European Classics, the Australian Classics already underway. It's the it's the Caulfield 1,000 Guineas for fillies this weekend. But for now, I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time to watch it. We looked at some interesting middle distance and the further races there, I think, and hopefully they all go on to have very good careers and come back for more next season. Some promising horses there. It's like Daiwa Major winning his second French St. Leger. There's some good horses out in Japan. They raced for a lot of years out in Japan, so maybe people will be able to see more of Urban Chic in future as well. But I will leave this video here. What I will do is I will leave a copy of the Classic Watch 24 playlist, which I think will include some of the other reviews of the classics through 2024 that we've looked, as well as all the horses, the site, videos, things like that. I'll leave a copy to that playlist, and I'll also leave everybody an opportunity who has chosen to watch this video without subscribing. I will give you an opportunity to subscribe to the channel as well. But for now, take care, everybody. Have a fantastic day. What's coming up this weekend? Well, National Hunt Racing really will take the feature. I think it's the second meeting at Cheltenham of the English National Hunt season. There was also probably, I think there's a decent mile race in Japan as well available for international horses as well. We've got that on the horizon, really. We've got Hong Kong coming up as well, where you get some international flavour there, as well as in Japan. Australian racing, obviously, ongoing, and we're just really waiting now for the New Zealand and the South African 2-year-olds to maybe get a look at them On to Classic Watch 26. But for now, take care, everybody. Have a fantastic week. Enjoy the rest of your week. And goodbye.